The deadline comes as top members of the GOP ask Todd Akin to step down.
A look at proposed utility rate hikes in Columbia.
And safety worth the cost? The Jefferson City Council debates a multi-million-dollar project for the fire department. KOMU 8 News First at 5 starts now.
Live from Studio 8A, coverage you can count on in high definition. This is KOMU 8 News First at 5.
Rape is an evil act. I used the wrong words in the wrong way, and for that I apologize.
A plea for forgiveness. Missouri Republican candidate for U.S. Senate Todd Akin released this advertisement this morning, apologizing for his comments in a recent interview about rape and pregnancy. But the attacks from his own party just keep coming. Good afternoon. I'm Angie Bailey.
And I'm Danny Spiewak. We spoke with Boone County Republican Chairman Bruce Cornett earlier today, who says the apology is not enough. Cornett calls Akin's remarks the memorable moment in the 2012 campaign. He says Akin may be forgiven, but his comments will not be forgotten.
The nationwide attack continues as well. A day after the group pulled its political ads from the state, Karl Rove's political action committee, American Crossroads, released this statement today. Representative Akin faces a simple choice in it by getting out.
I think almost all Americans concur that this man has said something that's totally inappropriate and offensive. And I'm hoping that he will give great attention to this issue today and will make a decision which is in the best interest of the values he has for the future of the country and for the country itself.
Those comments came from GOP nominee Mitt Romney today. His opinion on the best interest of our country. Romney wants Akin to step down. In another statement today, Romney said today his fellow Missourians urge him to step aside, and I think he should accept their counsel and exit the Senate race. Now, we also spoke with another local lawmaker, and KOMU 8's Minty Zhu joins us live where State Senator Kurt Schaefer is talking with voters.
Now I'm by the highway on 9th where the Boone County Packer reporting live in Columbia, Monticello, KOMU 8 News.
Switching gears now, we have some breaking news. Columbia police are investigating a shooting on the north side of town. Officers were called to the scene on 4th Avenue between Providence and Grand Avenue. That's less than a block from Ridgeway Elementary and about a block from Hickman High School. Police say a 32-year-old man was driving west on 4th when someone shot through his back window. The driver was hit in the upper part of his body and then taken to the hospital. We do have a crew at the scene, and we'll have more on KOMU 8 News at 6 tonight.
Well, weather-wise today, the heat is on without a lot of humidity. Temperatures are pretty volatile.
Speaking of, we knew it would happen. A lack of air conditioning at some area schools means an early dismissal this week. West Junior High and Jefferson Junior High will dismiss at 11:30 tomorrow and Thursday. That's Wednesday and Thursday. Early out at 11:30 due to the heat. There are only 2 schools in the Columbia Public School District that don't have AC, and those are scheduled to get it installed during the next 2 summers.
Columbia fire crews rushed to a hotel fire early this afternoon. Firefighters arrived just after 1 to heavy smoke coming out of the roof above the lobby at the Quality Inn. Firefighters worked to put out the flames by pulling back roofing materials, trying to find the source of the fire. Employees were working and suddenly forced to evacuate.
We was working in the kitchen and I heard fire smoke by the front desk. And so we went to take a look there. Is smoke coming out of the wall by the front desk.
Fire Battalion Weaver says an electrical malfunction started the blaze, causing $20,000 of damage. No one was hurt. The Jefferson City Council is trying to decide whether to pay for a safer design for its new fire station. The current design doesn't include safe areas that would protect employees against severe weather. The building as planned would cost $2.6 million. To build the extra protection would cost $51,000 more. Supporters say the extra money would pay for more than just safety.
One of the big features, of course, is the hardening of the facilities, the 911 backup center, along with the city IT having a storage area there for their backup computers.
The Jefferson City Council plans to look at this issue again on September 3rd.
The Missouri State Fair Speedway is offering to refund the money to those who were injured in the accident on Sunday. Injured people can go online at www.missouristateFairSpeedway.com to download the form. They can then email it in, and a pit pass does not need to be returned for the donation. People have until September 25th to submit that form. Information for general admission refunds should be directed to the Missouri State Fair Administration Office. Columbia residents could feel an even bigger burden from their electric bills after the city council talks about rate hikes. The fee to disconnect electricity could go from $15 to $25. One city councilman proposed an amendment to keep it at $15. The council also expects the base electric fee for each household to increase by more than $1. Central Missouri Community Action says this could really hurt its clients.
It's going to hurt a lot of our families tremendously. And the ones that I think about are the ones that's on a fixed income. They will not get an increase. However, their utility bill will now get an increase.
The council says residents could be paying more after October 1st. It also expects to vote on proposed disconnect increases in late September as well. Alleged 9/11 conspirators are due in court this week.
And the wildfires continue across the nation. KOMU8's Katie Brousseau has those stories and more in your First Nation report.
The alleged conspirators behind the September 11th attacks are due in court tomorrow. The suspects will appear in a pre-trial hearing before a military commission in Guantanamo Bay. They face charges including terrorism and murder and could face the death penalty if convicted. New pictures from NASA show smoke from wildfires burning out west. The images were taken from multiple NASA satellites. You can see smoke billowing from fires in California, Oregon, Idaho, and Nevada. At least 70 wildfires are burning across 13 states west of the Mississippi River. What if cars could talk to each other and prevent crashes? It may sound like science fiction, but the technology is already here, and the government is launching a new year-long test. Researchers at the University of Michigan, the Transportation Department, and 8 car manufacturers are testing something called vehicle-to-vehicle communication. If the technology works on a grand scale, the government could one day require it in all cars. And that's your first look around the nation.
In your world news now, the head of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Martin Dempsey, had to leave Afghanistan using a different plane after he was hit by rocket fire. The plane was sitting on the tarmac when 2 rockets exploded near it, slightly injuring 2 people. Dempsey was in Afghanistan for talks with NATO and the Afghan commanders about shootings by Afghan security personnel of U.S. and NATO troops. The Taliban was quick to claim responsibility. The Greek government had to send riot police to a Greek island after a mob attacked tax officers during an arrest over the weekend. Greek tax police detained the owner of a restaurant on Hydra Island who had not provided receipts to clients. A crowd attacked the officers and riot police were called in. The Greek government is cracking down on tax evasion. And South African officials plea for forgiveness today after the mass police shooting of dozens of striking mine workers. South Africa's defense minister spoke directly with strikers and begged for their forgiveness. The meeting came 5 days after police gunned down 34 protesting miners. 78 others were injured. It's the deadliest security incident in South Africa since the end of apartheid.
A new side effect.
How medicine to help your baby get better could be causing some problems down the road. As students hit the books again, a look at how certain types of studying could make your grades, in fact, worse. Those stories are later in your health.
And coming up, temperatures are going to be warming. We've enjoyed some relatively comfortable temperatures over the last week or so. That's going to change. In fact, it already has changed. That's next on KOMU8 News, first at 5.
There's a live look over Columbia. I like that shot. That's not one we've seen very often. See the smokestacks from the power plant there. You can jump on our streaming newscast page and click on KOMU.com, the banner at the top. Or you can also join us on the Cyber Couch. We're in a G+ hangout right now. Tell us what's going on in your world. This is KOMU 8 News First at 5. Coverage you can count on.
Now, your live Doppler 8 First Alert weather with Chief Weathercaster Dave Schmidt.
And a good afternoon to you. There you get a first look at one of our First Alert weather cams over Columbia Regional Airport. Again, about the sky looks about the same as it has the last couple of days. Some fair weather cumulus clouds rolling around out there. The way it looks weather-wise.
Warming right back up out there.
You betcha.
So it's
still
summer
August.
again.
Yeah.
We know we had a break, but it's summer again.
It was nice to have that little break after the August or the July we had. Thanks a lot, Dave.
You bet.
Some other news tonight at the Columbia Housing Authority meeting. Members will get a petition to delay renovation. CHA announced back in July it plans to renovate the older public housing units on Lincoln and Unity. But GROW, that's grassroots organizations, will deliver a petition signed by 62% of that area for a delay in that renovation. Construction of some units have been renovated, but only if they were already vacant. One community member keeps close contact with CHA and does not agree with GROW.
They said if they did where they had to move people out, they would pay. They told me that they would pay for the moving expenses and that I would have first right to move back in if I wanted to after the renovations.
Columbia Housing Authority will also have a meeting tomorrow with the families to help them understand that renovation process, and the public is invited to that as well. Making a fashion statement.
A funny sight at the beach in the name of sun safety, coming up in your health.
As the school year is kicking off, students are getting ready to hit the books again, or at least thinking about it. New research shows all-night cram sessions are actually doing more harm than good. Researchers at UCLA studied more than 500 high school students during a 2-week period and found those who stayed up late to study performed worse on tests, quizzes, and homework than those who just went to bed on time. Giving your baby antibiotics could increase the risk for obesity later in childhood. NYU researchers studied 11,000 young children. They looked at the weight and antibiotic use throughout childhood. They found those given antibiotics in their first 5 months were 25% more likely to be overweight by the time they turned 3. Experts say this doesn't prove antibiotics cause obesity, but it does suggest the bacteria in our gut may permanently change after early exposure to antibiotics. Here's one for you, though, a new way to shield yourself from the sun. Women in China are now sporting a new piece of clothing to protect their skin from UV rays. Wait for it, folks. It is called a face kini. It's a colorful mask that covers the entire neck and head. While it may not be particularly fashionable and, I'll say it, a little freaky, it does its job to protect the skin from the sun's harmful rays.
Angie, thanks. Well, you've already heard from Republicans across the country on Todd Akin's comments and refusal to step down. Coming up, we'll tell you what you had to say.
The fact is, rape can lead to pregnancy. The truth is, rape has many victims. The mistake I made was in the words I said, not in the heart I hold.
Top Republicans across the country, including GOP nominee Mitt Romney, are asking Todd Akin to step down, but Akin isn't letting the pressure get to him. So we asked what you think about the whole situation. Misty Griffin said, dude, just give it up already. There you go. Short and to the point. Sidney Kendrick said clearly he thinks all should be forgiven and forgotten, which shows just how out of touch or delusional he really is. But Paula Evans said, while I believe what he said was completely stupid and insensitive, I unfortunately will still vote for him. I do not want McCaskill for another term, leaving that option blank, or voting Libertarian will do just that.
Here's a look at what we're following for KOMU 8 News at 6 tonight. We'll introduce you to a family hit hard by the possible electric rate hike we told you about earlier in the newscast.
And as always, you can join us online at KOMU.com for all the latest news, sports, and weather updates.
And weather-wise, quickly, here's a recap of the next 12 hours in 3-hour increments. Not too bad. We're going to cool off into the 70s later on this evening, down to about 60 tomorrow morning. And tomorrow afternoon, we'll be cooking again at 95.
95, that is warming up. It's 60s in the morning. Boy, that's the way to wake up in mid-Missouri.
With low humidity, you have much more volatility in temperatures.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. That's our time for now, folks. We'll see you back at 6 o'clock or 9 and 10 this evening.